Welcome to Fatherhood for the Rest of Us with Brandon Handley. Because you're already great at everything else, why not fatherhood too?
Hey there, Fatherhood for the Rest of Us. Brandon Handley here, the voice of a generation. Today, I am pleased to bring on with you Coach Jesse Cole, the founder of Kingdom Mogul. We go over so many different things in this one. This one seriously is packed with, I don't even know what to call it. Just more wisdom, more insight than that should be allowed, huh? Anyways, we covered things like meeting your future self, going from pity party to having a positive self future, self becoming. We talk about the big fish method, identify what's going on in life, to applying it to your own stories to teach others. Talking about it's okay to shine your own light, believe you are a big deal. We talk about things like what does your perfect day look like. We even ask Coach Jesse Cole, why would somebody reject their greatness? Geez, learning to realize your recognized potential. Geez, what else, guys? It's just so much, and even talking about fatherhood, he's got a really good one. He's got some. We talk about some affirmations to be used for your children. Coach Jesse Cole talks to us about his vision wheel, becoming in lockstep with your significant other, and geez, we really just cover so much, guys, that I really hope that you are able to listen to this whole one because it is of, I believe, tremendous value and just really interesting stuff that Jesse is able to cover with us. As always, please go head on over to fatherhoodfortherestofus.com and /episodes and subscribe. You can subscribe there if you have not already. And also, if you could leave a 5-star rating and review over on iTunes, I know I would greatly appreciate that, and that will help to spread the word and let others know that this podcast is available for service to them. I just want to be able to serve as many fathers as I can. And hey, look, if there's mothers out there, even if there's a child that picks this podcast up, I want to be able to share these conversations with anybody who's able to pick them up and take something away from them. As always, too, if you are looking for a group of fathers, like-minded men who are doing their best to move forward in fatherhood and just trying to be their ideal selves, head on over to our private Facebook group, Fatherhood for the Rest of Us, and in there you'll find a lot of men who are celebrating fatherhood and who are also facing their own challenges from time to time, and we use each other as a sounding board just to make sure that, hey, look, you don't have to take our advice. You don't have to take anybody's advice, really, but at least you can get a sounding board in there and know whether or not you're headed in the right direction. And finally, hey, maybe groups aren't your thing. Maybe the podcast is enough, and you're looking to do some one-on-one coaching in fatherhood towards your ideal self. What does your ideal version of yourself in fatherhood look like? Reach out to me. Let me know. You can always head on over to reconstruct.brandonhandley.com, schedule some time, and we can see what that looks like. We can see if we're a good fit for each other. And that is going to do it, guys. Enjoy this one with Jesse Cole. Make sure you reach out to Jesse. Let him know what kind of impact this one is having on your day. Talk to you later. Open volume mixer. Bam. All right, good. I hear enough things going on in my own head, Jesse. I don't need to hear both of us at the same time, all occupying the space that we're supposed to have in here. All right, I got us. We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thanks for you being here. For those of you that catch it later, make sure you chime in, give us your thoughts as they come up. But I want to welcome Coach Jesse Cole to this broadcast. It's been a long time coming. This will also go to the Fatherhood for the Rest of Us group, but it's been a long time coming. Jesse Cole and I have been running in some circles at the same time together, and we met, I think it was June?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met in Cincinnati at a get together for Everyday Saturday. A bunch of us got together there, and this is where I met Jesse. And I'm just going to go ahead and read off Jesse's bio so you guys know what we are up for. And to be honest with you, I don't think his. I think your bio, it's good, but you're more powerful than your bio even indicates. So, man, we're just excited to have you here. So Jesse Cole has dedicated his life to helping people realize their leadership potential, achieve their desired reality, and repair their confidence to become the better version of themselves. Over the past 15 years, he's directly impacted leaders from all walks of life, both nationally and internationally, teaching them how to create their leadership framework, manage their influence, empower their teams, and boost their performance results. He is the creator of the Kingdom Mogul Effect and the 5 stages of leadership growth. Jesse Cole has helped to transform the lives of leaders in diverse domains. He has addressed such distinguished audiences as the American Businesswomen Association, Deloitte, and Ford Motor Company chaplains, as well as public services organizations as AmeriCorps, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and Boy Scouts of America. Best known for blending his life story with transformational principles, Cole shares strategies that have contributed to his success and have improved the lives of his clients in the shortest amount of time. Through honest and transparent engagement, Jesse Cole will provide you with the tools to live a fulfilling life, a life that you can be proud of, the life you were meant to live. Now, Jesse, one of the things that I got to throw out there for everybody is, I mean, you've been at this for in the speaking realm for about 15 years, right?
Yes, sir.
And guys, I can attest to Jesse's power and the way that he speaks. It's when you're in the same room with Jesse, you're going to know it. That's all I can say. So, man, thanks for being here today. And the first thing I want to know is what can we help you celebrate today?
Man, help me celebrate. Thank you. That's the first time I've ever heard that question asked, and I appreciate that. Man, help me celebrate 10 years of marriage.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations. Congratulations,
yeah,
sir.
you, 10 years of marriage in August, man. And I'm married to a beautiful woman, Shalena Cole, who, I mean, just teaching me what love really is. And I married up, you know. So, I'm in a good place, man. I'm falling in love with my wife again. Like,
Awesome.
The way that I felt when I first saw her, I'm beginning to feel that way again, and it's because I made the choice to feel that way. So, yeah, celebrate that with me, man.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you and congratulations. Let's celebrate that. You just got back from you went down to Louisiana, right? You went to New Orleans.
New Orleans, man.
How was that trip?
It was good, man. It wasn't long enough. I wanted to, you know, eat as much good food as I possibly could. And so the day before we left, I started feeling like, man, I need to be here 2 more days so I can hit as many restaurants as possible. So,
right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. The I've never been. I'll be headed down there in February, as a matter of fact. So, I mean,
yes,
I'm
sir.
looking forward to it. If you've got some places that you think I should hit, you be sure to let me know. So,
Absolutely.
So I don't miss where the good food is.
Absolutely.
Right. You know, so let's just talk a little bit about, you know, where you are in your life, what's going on, what it is that exactly it is that you do. One of the things that, you know, kind of strikes me as I read through your, as I do read through your bio. Now and you just also I mean, listen, you've got a lot going on, Jesse. Sorry to be jumping all over the place, but I mean, you just released a book this year, right? Another book.
Yes.
How many books have you got out there now?
I have 4 on the market now.
4 books on the market. Like, you're out there, you're doing it. What is this last book about?
This last book is called Activate, 50 Principles that will help you lead with confidence. And so what I've done is I went through all of my keynotes, my speeches, my workshops, my masterminds, and I've pulled out 50 of the top principles that I've been able to teach over these last 10 years. And I just put it in a palatable format. The book is not long. It's something that you can read every day. It's like a reference book. And I pulled out those principles and I paired them with scripture to help you on your daily walk as a leader.
All right, cool. Very cool. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about the Kingdom Mogul then. Tell us what that is. What is the Kingdom Mogul, and what's that represent for you?
Kingdom Mogul is a term that I coined about 5 or 6 years ago, and I just began to build on it. a kingdom mogul is someone who is a believer. They believe in Christ, but they also understand that they have more to them than just going to church. And so they're in the marketplace. They may own a business. They may work for somebody else, but they understand that they have gifts that they want to maximize. And so the mogul is somebody who just dominates their space. And that's, I think we've been called to do that. Whatever your gifts, whatever your talents, whatever your space is, whatever your domain of influence is, I believe that you've been called to dominate in that space. So the kingdom part is you're a believer, you believe in the kingdom of God. The mogul part is you're doing whatever you can to maximize your potential.
Right on. And have you always have you always viewed it that way? Have you always been a man of faith? Have you always felt this? I mean, you light up the room, brother. And I know you probably get sick of hearing me say it by the time we're all done. But like you bring quite a bit of presence with you that I believe ties directly to your faith. Have you always felt that strongly about the way that you do now?
Yeah, so I grew up in a home where my father is a pastor and evangelist. My mother is a teacher. So since I've been born, that's what has been permeating throughout the walls of our house. Is that I always felt like I was different, not better than somebody else, but I felt like I was just different. Like I just didn't really fit anywhere. Even though I was on teams and groups, I felt like I just felt like it was something more out there that I needed to experience. And so I've always been on a search for more. I've always been on a quest to find the better version of myself. So since I was young, I remember, sitting in business meetings with my father and feeling like, man, there's more to life than what I'm experiencing right now. So yes, I've always been on the quest for more.
In one of your podcasts, right? You speak about meeting your future self, sitting on the couch, right? And I thought, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, Jesse. I'm kind of in the thick of a similar scenario, right? So I mean, that really spoke to me. I said, Jesse, you are, I'm hearing what I need to hear, right? Yeah. Can you tell this group about it? And I mean, we could redirect them to the podcast. So you can give them the shorter version, but I mean, that, Jesse, is powerful. And when did you kind of experience that?
Yeah. So the podcast, I believe, is named "I Got Punked by a 60-Year-Old Man." I think that's what it's called. So you can go to iTunes and look up the Kingdom Mogul podcast. And then you will see me there as well. You can listen to that podcast. I think it's like 15 minutes long, somewhere around there. But I was going through a time where I wasn't feeling too much like the man of the house. The money I was making wasn't really helping us out that much. And so my wife and I, we were having conversations about, what does that look like? And then one day I came home from work and she said that she was fired from her job that day, which so happened to be the same day that we found out we were pregnant with our daughter. So we found out we were pregnant with our daughter. I'm not making a whole lot of money, and she just got fired from her job. So I'm like, okay, what's really going on right now?
Things aren't looking good.
Right. And so I went upstairs and sat on my couch. I started throwing myself a pity party, like, man, God, like, why is this happening to me? I'm trying to help people. I'm doing whatever I can. I'm not hating on nobody. You know what I'm saying? This, like, why me? Why me? Why me?
Right.
And in that moment, I saw myself at 60 years old. Like God was telling me, God said, you are made in my image. I'm a producer, so you're a producer. So get up off this couch and produce. Like I heard that like audibly in my spirit, like get up off of this couch, stop crying like a little punk, right? and get up off this couch and start producing. You have it in you to produce because you're made in my image. And so in that moment, I saw my 60-year-old self. I saw what I looked like, what I was wearing. I saw how I ran my business, how I led my family. I saw it. And when in that vision, his back or my back was turned to me. And I reached over my shoulder and I did this, like, come on, you're trying to become me. And so now in life, whenever life begins to, get hard, I remember that moment where I saw my 60-year-old self, like, you know what, this is happening because I'm becoming the better version of myself. And it is my desire, it is my plea that everybody have an encounter like that. It may not be on the couch where you're throwing a pity party, but one thing that I try to teach my students and my clients is that until you can see yourself better, the likelihood of you getting better won't happen. And so it wasn't until I saw myself at 60, until I saw myself, the better version of myself, that's when life began to change for me. my thought process began to change. I began to identify what my limiting beliefs were versus my limitless beliefs. And I began to change my belief system. And I began to change what I say, what I feel. And I began to attract the type of people, the type of opportunities that got me in this position where I am right now.
That's it. I mean, it's super powerful, Jesse. Like I said, how is it like, one thing I really enjoy is that you're willing to share that story, right? I mean,
Yes, sir.
and that helped me. That helped me, like, directly. So I know that, it's helping others, but I mean, now, I don't know if you told the story, had anybody else reach out to you and say, man, that helped me get kind of through just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel when somebody comes up to you and says, hey man, you may have just radically, changed my life? And that's probably what you're doing with the coaching too. When somebody comes up and be like, without you, I don't think I'd be where I am today. How does that feel?
Yeah, I'm still humbled and surprised whenever I hear that, because my intention is not like I'm about to change your life. It's not like that. I'm not that I'm not that like aggressive motivational speaker type of guy. I just, like my bio says, I like to share my experiences, share my story, and if it helps you, it helps you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I know that my assignment is to use my life's curriculum and to find a thread of connectivity between me and whoever I'm speaking to, whether that's a big room or a small room, and just hopefully transformation takes place. But my job is just to share my experiences. That's it.
What one of the experiences that you shared with the group was the casting the rod, right? The fish.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to kind of share that story with this group? Because man, that's also I just feel like, man, you got so much to offer. These are just the ones that I know kind of off the top of my head about you that I feel like the group should be able to see. And would you mind sharing that one?
Yeah, man. So a lot of the stories that I tell are like happen in real life. I'm not a genius guy. I just know how to identify what's going on in my life and use it to, hopefully help somebody's life. And so the story that you're talking about that I told in Cincinnati, my father used to take me fishing he used to go fishing when I was younger, but he would never take me, and I would get upset about it. And I would ask him how come he would never take me fishing. He said, well, because you don't know how to fish. And I said, okay, well, you can teach me. He was like, I've been waiting a long time for you to ask me that. So he took me in the backyard and showed me how to put the worm on the hook, showed me how to put the bobber and the weight on, showed me how to cast and all that. And then when I got proficient at it, that's when he took me out to his favorite fishing spot. So we get out to his fishing spot. He sits me here and he walks about 5 feet away, and I'm seeing him cast, right? Bzzz, right? And so his cast went longer than mine, right? Which means that his line went further and deeper. So I said, okay, well, I can do that. So I said, and it landed right in, right?
Right.
And it landed right in front of me. So I said, okay, well, at least it's in the water. So I'm watching my father fish, and he's pulling out these big bass and these big bluegill, and you can make about 5 or 6 sandwiches out of the fish that he's catching. And I'm looking at the fish that I'm catching, and it's these little baby fish, right?
right.
Not even bigger than my hand at the time, which I was like 10 or 11 years old at the time. And I'm asking him, I'm saying, okay, and I'm perplexed in my mind because we have the same type of fishing pole. We're digging in the same worms, fishing in the same water. And I'm kind of like messed up because I'm thinking like, why is his fish bigger than mine? So I asked him, I said, okay, Daddy, we have the same fishing pole, the same water, the same hook, the same everything. Why are your fish bigger than mine? And then he laughed at me and he said, because you're fishing in the shallow end. Anybody can fish in the shallow end. All the small fish are in the shallow end. But if you want these big boys that I'm catching, you got to go a little bit deeper. And, like when you think about life, man, like it's real easy to live shallow. Everything is filtered. Anybody can live on the shallow end. It doesn't take a lot of energy to be shallow. But if you want to get the results that you deserve, the results that you've been created to receive, then you got to go a little bit deeper. There's a process to getting those results.
Now, I think I just did this podcast just so I could hear the story again. Have you put that out there yet? I know that you were looking at working that into some of the work that you were doing.
Yeah, so I'm working on it. It's called the Big Fish Method. Actually, Sam Crowley gave me that idea. He said, you need to make a method out of that.
Yeah,
and so I'm taking that story, and I actually interviewed my father about the different acts of fishing and what that looks like for a person that's in the marketplace. as far as like client attraction and how you put your product out there and things like that. So I'm developing that right now. It's called the big fish method. And I'm using that story as the backdrop to that teaching.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that it's awesome. The and I'm gonna hit on just a couple more like the podcast things. And you tell me, like, I mean, if there's something that you want to talk about more than one of these, you just start bringing it up and let's start talking about it. Like speaking engagements, clients, anything like that you want to talk about first, you can hit it. But a couple of the things that I want to throw out there was I love how you start off even like the other one. You are a big deal, man. How and you talk about repairing people's confidence too. And I just wonder, and questions that I have are like, when did you realize for yourself that you were a big deal, that it was okay for you to go ahead and shine your light? And how do you go about helping? Let's say that I personally have a confidence issue. How do I go about repairing my confidence, Jesse?
Yeah, man, those are great questions. I have to be reminded of how big of a deal I am, and that sounds kind of conceited, but really, as a son of the living God, like He says, I'm a big deal, so I'm gonna say I'm a big deal. And I think we're going to talk about that later on as fathers, how we can make sure that our children understand how valuable they are, and we can take that example right from God. And so the reason I'm a big deal because He says I am, because He's given me gifts, He's given me talents, He's given me the space and the platform to not only like make money, to not only impact people's lives, but to make sure that I'm bringing Him glory in the process. That's what it's all about. It's about helping people understand that there's somebody out there that loves you. Your Creator loves you. He just didn't put you here just to be like a robot. There's a purpose for your life. And so that's why I'm a big deal, because I have a purpose, I have a domain of influence, and I'm here to impact people's lives the best way I know how. And if I was talking to somebody whose confidence was repaired, whose confidence was kind of destroyed, I think one of the first questions I would ask them is, like, what do you want out of life? Like, what is your desired reality? What do you want to achieve? What kind of life do you want to like? What is your perfect day look like? And then we'll work backwards from there.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's another one that you threw out there too. Your perfect day, guys. I recommend you. Jesse, you said you haven't podcasted in a little bit, but I will recommend that you guys head over to Jesse's. I know he's on iTunes and he's also on SoundCloud. I recommend that you can find more of this over there because it's powerful stuff, and I think that you got to be open and willing to receive it too, Jesse. Right? I mean, just because you or I come up and tell you that you're an amazing purpose, just because you find it in all the scriptures, right? That you're an amazing person, you're a miracle. What do you find why would somebody reject that? Why is that hard to accept?
You asked some good questions, man. I guess that's why you're the host. Why would somebody reject it? Maybe because they were raised in an environment that didn't reinforce their greatness, right? They maybe growing up they were raised in an environment that they didn't see anybody trying to maximize their potential. Maybe they were bullied in school. I believe that a lot of the things that we think about, that we say, this is like learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe my daughter or my son came out of the womb feeling insecure about themselves.
Mm-mm.
I don't think any of us came out of the womb saying, "Oh, I'm a bad person," or "I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I don't have enough money." Like we don't come out saying that.
No, we all came out wearing the same outfit.
Right, nothing at all. Just bloody and stinky, right?
That's right.
And so our environment puts that on us. Depending on where you were raised and who you were raised by, that's going to depend on how you see the world. Like as parents, we teach our children how to see the world through our eyes first.
Sure.
How to see the world, how to respond, how to react, like through our eyes first. And if that environment is an environment that stretches them and nurtures them at the same time, then that's an unhealthy environment. And so many of us have grown up in an environment where we weren't stretched, where we weren't encouraged, where we weren't nobody told us that we were beautiful. Nobody told us that we were smart. Nobody told us this stuff. So we grew up with that.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. So let's just say that even with the any of your clients, when somebody comes up and how do you get them to realize and recognize their potential? Do you start them slow? Do you start them small? Do you just, you can't beat them over the head with it because it's kind of hard to absorb, right? So
Right.
I'm just curious kind of how it looks like if I come in, I say, Coach Jesse Cole, fix me up. I feel like I'm great enough. I feel like I got all this stuff right on the edge. How do I take that next step?
Right. Again, I believe it all starts with what's up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like our whatever you think, you say, whatever you say, you believe, whatever you believe, you're going to end up doing. Whatever you do, you're going to attract, right? But
Yeah.
it starts up here. There's this book called The Richest Man in Babylon that I was listening to the audio book, and I wasn't even in the first chapter yet. And it was an introduction, and I was like, man, what this guy just said is, he said our actions are no wiser than our beliefs. Our beliefs are no wiser than our thoughts,
Hmm.
right? And so when I have a student or a client come into my office and they may have low self-esteem, one of the first things I do is I address their self-talk. Like, I ask them, do you talk to yourself often? And they say, what do you mean? I said, I talk to myself. Do you talk to yourself often?
Sure.
And so then we go through what those conversations sound like, what they look like. And then I have them do something really easy. I just pull out a sheet of paper, and on one side of the paper, we write their limiting beliefs. On the other side, we write their limitless beliefs, right?
Hmm.
The limiting beliefs, the things that you were told that you are now saying to yourself. The things that you really don't believe it, but because you've been told it, you've embraced it and you've owned it as your own.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your limiting beliefs. Your limitless beliefs are those thoughts, those beliefs that whenever a limiting belief comes up, that limitless beliefs attack, like eats away at that limiting belief. And so, I had a student come in and she had like 11 things that she was told as a child growing up. I said, okay, well, you have these 11 limiting beliefs. Now we gotta counter those with 11 limitless beliefs. And so it took us about 30 minutes. We wrote all that down, and then I had her open her phone, and I asked her to tap on her audio app, and I wanted her to say all of her limitless beliefs into her phone, so that when she wakes up every morning, that she plays that to herself. When she's riding to school on a bus, which is a 30-minute commute, you got 30 minutes to replay that over and over and over and over. And so you're hearing yourself say it. Mr. Cole is not saying it. You wrote
Right.
this stuff down.
Right.
You're hearing yourself say this stuff. And
Right.
so
These are your words. This
these
is
are
you
your words.
speaking. Right. Right.
Right.
That's powerful, Jesse. That's powerful, and I really appreciate that, guys. Make sure. Hopefully, you guys make it through all of this, and you capture this because, again, Jesse, again, he doesn't just talk this stuff. I've been in the same room with him. I can feel his presence. I know that he is a conduit. Jesse Cole is a conduit. Jesse, what do you? Let's tap on your business one more time here. What do you want to tell people, kind of about the business side? What do you want to? What is there something you want to celebrate that's going on, or point them to as it relates strictly to, the work that you're doing?
Yeah. So if you would like to go, and I encourage you to go to kingdommogulnetwork.com. We're still building out the site. I just launched it, and so it's still new. I've been doing the work for the last 15 years, but I'm just launching the business side of this. And so right now, when you go to that site, you're going to see the header, but you're going to see an email caption where you can put your email in, and you're going to start receiving. I call them Kingdom Mogul Mondays. Every Monday, I'm sending you out a message, either a quote picture or video or something that you can get to start your week off well. And so we're still building the site out, but right now you can still be a part of the email list. I would really appreciate that if you did that.
Yeah, absolutely, Jesse. Now, since today's Wednesday, what went out on Monday?
Well, see, here's the thing. I scheduled them out.
So okay,
Yeah.
you did them all. Yeah, that's smart. That's something
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do with
Yeah.
with I've got mine. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. It's easy to get caught up in all these and trying to stay present with everybody. So yeah, guys, go out, go do that. Jesse's really it's a real human being, really trying to help people out, and I believe that with everything I got. So
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jesse, for being that person in the world. I don't think that we're at an amazing shortage of it, but we could use more people like you. That's what I think.
Thank you, man.
So let's flip it over to fatherhood, man.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's flip it over to fatherhood.
That's why
What?
we're here.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, man. First of all, I'm here to celebrate you and what you're doing, right? And then, I want to celebrate, just being a dad. What is something, the fish story that you told about your dad is one thing. Your father. What is something else that your father kind of imparted to you that you're bringing forward that you love?
Yeah, just work hard at what you're passionate about. Like I said, my father he's a minister, he's a pastor, but I would see him go to work every day when he worked at a chemical company. I would see him go to work every day and come home from work and then take a shower and sit in the bathroom and go over his sermons in the bathroom. Right? So he didn't work 10 hours a day. Now he's sitting in the bathroom for an hour and he's working on his craft. And so as a kid, I'm seeing that it's important to work on your craft. Whatever you're passionate about, it's important to perfect that.
You're back.
All right.
All right,
I'm
man.
sorry, I have poor reception at this college.
Well, you're good, man. You're all good. I'm just glad we can get you back. All right.
All right. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
When's the last thing you heard?
I know we were talking about it's important to work on your craft and really try to perfect it.
Yeah.
That's where we were. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest lessons my father taught me. After working 10 hours a day, coming home, working on his craft, man, just be prepared. If you're serious about it, continue to research it, continue to get better at it, continue to sharpen your sword, because you never know when you got to go into battle.
That's beautiful. Now, how are you passing that on to you got children or child?
I have a 4-year-old son, Dean, and I have a daughter who's about to be 2 in February.
Mm. Yeah. In the thick of it. It's the best,
Yes,
man. It's the best.
Sir.
So what are some things that you're doing that you're passing that on?
Yeah, so I'm training my daughter and my son. We have something called the Kings and the Queens Creed in our house.
Okay.
So this is something that when I had a mentoring program, I would that was our creed for the mentoring program. So I'm just passing it along to my son. When he was a baby, when he first came home, I started reciting it to him, and now he's 4. He can say it at the drop of a dime. And then my daughter, even though she's learning how to speak right now, she can say it too. And so just really in investing in their mental capacity, letting them know that no matter what's happening, you can always say this creed to remind yourself of who you are. And the King's Creed goes like, I am a king. I add value to the world. I have self-control, self-respect, and integrity. I am the master of the choices that I make. I will not blame others for my mistakes. I am responsible for my future, and I embrace my destiny. I am a king. I am smart. I am a leader. I help people, and I love Jesus.
Nice.
So they know that. And so in the event that they're ever faced with any trial or tribulation, they can always bring that back up and remind themselves of who they are.
Nah, that's powerful, Jesse. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I kind of got lost in it. I'm just trying to commit it to memory. So what are some of the challenges that you face, and how have you overcome them?
As a father?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are, man, three things come to mind. Just setting a rhythm for my house, confirming my children's identity, and then creating an environment where my children can thrive. Those are the 3 things that I'm constantly trying to work on. Setting the rhythm for my house. That all goes back to us being the leaders of our homes, making sure that we're not being dogmatic, but that we are leading our wives and our children, that we are making sure that we're setting the rhythm. This is the standard. This as for me and my house, this is how we're going to do things. And so one thing that we've done in our home, and it's continually evolving, we created this thing called the vision wheel. And so the vision wheel has 4 different components to it, the 4 areas of our life that are important to us in my family. And those areas are business, God, education, business, and family. Those are the 4 areas of our life where we focus most of our energy on. And anything that comes into our life that doesn't fit into those 4 areas, we can push to the side because it's just a distraction.
Okay.
And those 4 pillars, that's what we call them. those 4 pillars, they're not just standalone pillars. We're actually evolving in all 4 of them. So in education, what are we doing to thrive in our education? What are we doing to thrive in our family? What are we doing to thrive spiritually? And what are we doing to thrive in our business? And as we get older and our children get older and our businesses get more mature, those things could change, but the pillar stays the same because that's what's important to us. And that's how we develop the rhythm for our house.
That's awesome. Is this stuff you guys came up with on your own? Did you get this somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, this is just something that I've always thought, like, when I have my own family, I want to make sure that we're on the same page. And so that's why I call it the division wheel, because the wheel is meant to move you forward. And so this right here moves us forward.
Right.
I didn't see it anywhere. It's just something that just came to me as a father and a husband.
No, I like that. And I'm glad you said, as a husband, you followed that up with as a husband, because I feel like it's a really important for you and your wife, your significant other, whoever you're teamed up with to face fatherhood with, be on the similar page and have that open dialogue. Right. So I assume that your wife is fairly, hand in hand with you in regards to the vision wheel and setting this cadence up together. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not fairly. She is like,
yeah. And that's tight. Yeah. That's, I mean, that's real. I mean, listen, cause, that's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah. It is. And you know what, in the beginning of our marriage, the reason why the rhythm was kind of like, it wasn't syncopated is because of me. Like I wasn't casting vision properly.
Mm-hmm. You said casting vision, Jesse? I'm sorry, casting vision properly. Let's expand on that for me.
Yeah, so just leading her properly. I wasn't saying, hey, this is the rhythm or the standard of our house. It wasn't like that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even though I had a great example with my parents, I didn't know what that looked like for my house. And so the way I was leading her was kind of like Bobby Knight leading a basketball team, right?
That wasn't working?
Not at all. At all. And so I hadn't learned her learning style. I hadn't learned what she was passionate about. I hadn't learned what she responds to, what she doesn't respond to. I wasn't giving her an opportunity to use her gifts and her anointing in our house. I wasn't giving her the opportunity because I was trying to do it all.
How did you make that happen? How did the two of you combine, forces, we'll say?
Yeah. And so that's a great question. She's an engineer by education. She's a professional photographer, but she got an engineering degree from U of M. And so her mind is analytical. Mm-hmm. So whenever I'm presenting an idea, her mind automatically goes to how much is it going to cost? What does it look like for our family? What's the time limit on it, right? What's the time frame? My thing is, I'm looking at it from a big picture point of view, like this could happen. Hers is, what are the details?
What was the logistics?
Yeah, right. And so in the beginning, I always thought that when she went there, that she wasn't in agreement with me because she didn't see it like I saw it.
That's powerful, Jesse.
Right. But I learned that no, like she is seeing it, but she's seeing it out of her own, from her own frame.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. So just so I can understand this again, so it's not that she wasn't seeing your vision. It's not that she wasn't excited to be a part of it. It just had to make sense to her with her own voice, right?
I wasn't selling it to her properly.
Hey, man, I think that there's plenty of us with that issue, but I think that the other part here is that you're saying, and I'm hearing, is that a lot of us don't maybe give her the ability or the space to sell it to herself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that how I'm understanding it, or am I missing something there?
Repeat that again. I'm sorry.
It's like we got to give her, you gave your wife kind of like the space to sell it to herself.
Yeah, but I had to make sure that I framed it properly.
Right.
So so that she can know my heart.
Right.
But also give her an opportunity to be like, okay, to give her some time to think about it.
Right.
So if that's what you mean by selling it to herself, give her some time to think about it to see where she, like, what part is she going to play in this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like I had to do that. Like I need her.
Right. We're not doing this on our own. I'm not doing it by myself. I can tell you that right now. Just because because what you said is really great. I just want to make sure that we're getting it out there. So, but initially, Like you took it as just her not being there with you, and that wasn't the case at all.
At all.
How did you find that difference? How did you kind of jingle the key? I don't even know, right? How did you make that key fit?
We talked about it. Like we had really, and we still do have really tough conversation. And in those conversations, I try my best to respect her position while still letting her know where I am with it. So I would say, this is how I feel about it. This is how I see it. This is how I feel like you're not receiving it. Right.
Okay.
And then she would say, well, this is how I feel about it. This is how I'm hearing it. And this is why I feel like you're not hearing how I'm, you know what I'm saying? So just having those tough conversations where in those conversations, that's when we discovered that we want the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
We want the same thing for our family. We want the same thing for our children. We want the same thing for our legacy. But I wasn't doing a good job at giving her a platform to be able to express herself on what that looks like.
Right. And
hopefully I said that right.
No, I get it. So, I mean, it's important though, to have those conversations. And would you say that initially having those conversations, you may have been scared or had some fear that she's not going to accept the vision? Yeah.
Because I was so used to doing it myself. Before I met her, I was a single man, bought my house, got my own, you know what I'm saying? I was used to people not really understanding what my vision was. And so whenever I would get any kind of backlash or feedback that didn't fit how I felt like somebody was against it. And so coming from my wife, somebody that I'm sleeping with, that I'm living with, that I'm eating with, it stung even more because I see this person all the time.
Absolutely. When they're that much closer to you, I think that there's that much more of a sting. And I think that it's important. Like one of the big parts that we're talking about here is that mindset and trying to reframe that. So it's real similar to the limiting beliefs, right? And the limitless beliefs is why would somebody who has found you and loves you so much and sees so much in you turn on you, right? And maybe that's not the case. Maybe they want to know everything that they want to be a part of what you're saying. You're just not letting them do it. So that's what I'm hearing. And that's what I'm taking away, Jesse.
There you go.
What is you read a lot of books, you write a lot of books. What is a book that you recommend to parents or what is a resource outside of the Bible and scripture that you recommend to most parents?
Man, that's a great question. So I would say there's a book by Pat Williams that I read this year. It's called The Success Intersection. And I actually got a chance to interview him. He is actually the senior vice president of the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
And so when I saw the book and I read it, I emailed him. I said, hey, this book was amazing. Can I interview you? I'm writing a book and I want to get I want to get your wisdom on it.
Okay.
And he hit me back and said, yeah, let's do it. I was amazed at that. And so, but it's talking about the intersection between your success and your passion. And I believe that's a lesson that we can teach as parents to our children. Growing up, I was taught that you go to school, get your degree, and you get a good job.
Right.
And many of my friends were told that too. Even though I'm seeing my father, do something he's passionate about, I never really seen him enjoy it.
Okay.
I felt like he was good at it, but I never really seen him, get the fruit of his labor. So I didn't really see him enjoy it.
Right.
And one of the things I've always said was I want my children to see me enjoying what I do so they know what that looks like.
Right. Yeah,
and so
that's huge.
Yeah. And so that book, The Success Intersection, I believe that's a great book that parents can read together, and they can also take some of those principles and teach them to their children on like, what does it look like to be successful? How do you define success? What is passion? How do you find passion in the work that you're doing? Things like that.
Yeah. And I think again, I'll let one of my takeaway from what you're saying there is, letting that joy show, right, and what you're doing. And what would you say to somebody who won't put themselves in a position to let joy show?
They just willingly won't put themselves in a position
that they believe that they can, they believe they can do it all. But again, I think this goes back to believing that you're an amazing person, being told that you're an amazing person, knowing that you have the ability, knowing that you got a light to shine, but just
Yeah.
refusing to flip that switch. Well, how does that make you feel, man?
I would challenge them with this question. What if I told you that there is somebody out there waiting on you to shine your light? That their destiny, that their breakthrough is in you shining your light. What would you say to that? And when we take it off of ourselves and put it in a more holistic and global perspective,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it bigger than us, right? It gives us the opportunity to let our vision and our passions breathe outside of our head. And so I would ask them that question: like, there's somebody out there waiting on you to be who you were called to be. And if you're not who you called to be, then they're not going to be who they're called to be, because they're looking to you to be their example. Like, what if I told you that?
Yeah, no.
Like that would be a question I would ask.
Absolutely. And I think that's that one. That's a great one. And one of the other things that you said too is like, I mean, listen, when we sit here and we play small, this is nothing. We're letting that person down,
Mm-hmm.
right? So to step outside yourself, to kind of face that fear, be it with your wife, and having that conversation. If it scares you, you should probably kind of do it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel comfortable with your ability to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we're here for. We got the books. We got what is something. Your children are young right now, so they'll be what, like 10, or they'll be like 14 and 12 in 10 years, or was it right? Is that right? Did you
Mm-hmm.
say 4 and 2?
Mm-hmm.
So what is something that you want them to, like, let's just say they show up one day after school and they say, "Hey, Dad, I want to thank you for what and why they doing that."
Yeah. Um, just one thing. One
Well,
thing.
let's just say your son gets home, plops
Yeah.
down the book bag, having a snack after school, and he says, "Dad, I just want to thank you for what?"
I want to thank Dad. I want to thank you for showing me how important it is to be who I was called to be. Right. We talked about greatness earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That we're all great. Thank you for showing me that I'm great. Because I believe that's a message that can resonate in the event that my children have to go through like bullying at schools. I hope that never happens. But if somebody at school is treating them wrong, or they may not get a good grade on their test, that they're reminded that, you know what, no matter what happens, no matter if I rise or fall, I still have greatness on the inside of me, like that I'm great. I want them to feel that. I don't want my children to have low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's powerful. What is something you can do to ensure that they feel that?
Yeah. Great question. First thing, I believe I have to be more conscious of telling them that every single day, and identifying what they're good at. That's all about creating an environment where our children can thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So helping them identify what their gifts and talents are and celebrating that on a daily basis. So my son, he likes drums, right? He has a drum set at my mother-in-law's house, but it's not at our house yet.
Right.
It will be this week, but for the last year and a half, it's been at our house. So he doesn't have a drum set at our house, but he still finds ways to still play the drums, whether that's beating on our couch or taking all of his toys and positioning. He has his own studio that he made at our house. I didn't do this for him.
That's awesome.
He's watching YouTube videos
That's great.
on his own, and he's seeing what it looks like to play the drums, and he's creating a drum set out of his toys.
That's amazing.
So that lets me know that he's passionate about what he's doing. So when he's playing, it doesn't always sound good, but I'm always telling him, man, you're the best drummer in the world, man.
That's great.
You are a billionaire drummer. You are the greatest drummer in the world. He's like, yeah, I am the greatest drummer in the world, right?
I love it. Yeah.
And so just helping them discover what they're good at, and constantly letting them know that not only are you good, but you have to put the work in to even get great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like don't feel like because you're at this level that this is the end. Continue to practice, continue to work at it, like my dad did in the bathroom. Continue to work at it and get better and better and better and better every single day.
And I love it, and I agree. I'm with you 100%. And I probably wind us down. I got to get going myself here in just a moment. How do you help them? Just because I value everything you're saying, to handle like kind of letdowns and defeat, Right. And I think this might go back to, like, you're great, and
Hmm.
having that kind of self-confidence. But if your child comes up and says, hey, somebody called me this or that,
Hmm.
or they said I sound terrible, and they try to quit something they were so passionate about, how do you keep
Hmm.
them from losing that, igniting fire?
Yeah, I haven't had that
Yeah.
pop up yet. He's
Okay.
he's still young. He
Okay.
hasn't really played outside of family, and sometimes at church when the drummer lets him play at church
Oh, that's
after church
great.
sometime.
Yeah.
But I really haven't had that. But one thing that I have experienced is, he's last year he was in daycare. Now he's in Montessori preschool, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's a different environment. He has to wear a uniform now. He has to make new friends, new teachers, and so that first week of school was like a nightmare. He would cry every time we would drop him off. He dreaded going to school. He didn't want to wake up in the morning.
Right.
And so, like, one thing that my mother, not my mother, my wife and I, we encouraged him was, hey, listen, you were at this level for a long time. Now you're a big boy now,
Right.
and big boys have to grow up. Big boys have to, put themselves in environments like with new friends and new teachers. You're gonna learn so much, and just go through this experience and watch how bigger you're going to get as a big boy, right? Just little talking to
Yeah.
him at his level,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
teaching him life lessons that you can't stay at the same level all the time.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
You
with
have
you.
you have to grow. And so now when he goes to school, he's asking about his friends. Is Nisha going to be there today? Is my teacher going to be there? So now he's in that environment where he feels like, okay, I'm a big boy. I can handle this now.
Right, right. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. That's perfect. That's awesome. Anything that you feel like I left out, we didn't cover on today's call?
Yeah, I just wanted to share what I call like my five T's, and I use this in my coaching, I use it in my mentoring, and I use it in my parenting. The five T's. I believe that if we apply these five T's to whatever we're doing, um, I believe it'll help us become better leaders, and it'll help our followers or our children become better leaders in the process. So the five T's is tell, teach, take them by the hand, take a step back, and troubleshoot. Let me say it again: tell, teach, take them by the hand, take a step back, and troubleshoot. These are not chronological. These are all situational phases. So it's, like one doesn't come before the other. It just, as a leader, you have to recognize which one is happening and then serve in that moment. So the tell is just disseminating information. So if you have a student or a client or your children come up to you and ask you a question about something, you let them know where it is. You give them the information, and they go do it, right? Just
Mm,
disseminating information. The teaching is how do you the teaching is teaching them how to use that information to improve their life or to improve the situation, right? The take them by the hand that's the discipleship piece, that you're walking with them, you're falling with them, you're rising with them. When they win, you win. When they lose, you're there patting their back. You're walking with them. When they scrape their knees, you wiping their knees off. When they're victorious, you're lifting them up in the air, right? You're there with them, taking them by the hand. The take a step back is what I call a covered independence, meaning you're playing an advisory role, right? So now you're giving them the information, you've shown them how to use it in a practical way, you've walked with them. Now you're giving them independence to do it themselves, and they
mm,
can always come back and check in as an advisor, right?
right.
And then troubleshoot. That's where you identify the mistakes and you correct them together. If there were some mistakes that you've made, if a result didn't happen like you planned it, okay, like what happened, what didn't happen, what can we do better next time to make sure that it's successful? And so these are just five things that I've done that I apply to my coaching. I do it now subconsciously. In the beginning, I had to remember to do this, but now it's like I'm just kicking it in because I do it all the time now, and I
Yeah.
can tell when I'm doing it now. And so it's something that I teach my leaders, something that I teach my students, that I teach in workshops, and it's something really simple, but it's so impactful.
Awesome, Jesse. Awesome. I want to say thanks again for being here today. Before I have you give your where they can reach you, give us your tagline, dude, because that's also something powerful. What is it, Jesse?
Yeah, what you want to become depends on your willingness to become it.
That is
Okay.
right. That is right. Jesse Cole, where can we go get more of this?
Yeah, so you can go to my YouTube page, Jesse Cole Speaks. You can go to my Instagram page, Coach Jesse Cole, and my Facebook.
What's that? Hold on. Unmute Jesse.
What happened? Okay,
I don't even know
so
what that was.
Okay. So you can go to my website, jessespeaks.com, my Instagram page, Coach Jesse Cole, my YouTube page, Jesse Cole Speaks, and my Facebook page, Coach Jesse Cole.
Awesome, Jesse. I want to say thank you for coming in here today. Thanks for doing, guys. This live was unplanned. So Jesse, he put on his nice tie and shirt just to hop in here and be with us here today. And man, I got to be honest with you, Jesse. I'm also just really glad that we got the chance to catch back up with each other.
Yes, a long time in the making, man.
That's right. Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and stick with us, guys. The rest of the group, that's gonna do it. Jesse, don't go away.